7 reliable ways of making content marketing more effective. 1. Consistency marketing of content fails because people quit. Unlike mandatory reporting of quarterly earnings, key performance indicators, balanced scorecard, and other metrics which validates or reflects a marketing technique that is already in place, the results of marketing of content in the form of conversions isn't instant, and to expect that they would be is unrealistic. Organizations must have a futuristic outlook in this regard. Point 2. Hiring nothing but the best will do. The cliché copyright "content is king" has undergone modification and has been replaced by the more meaningful expression, quality content is king. In order to have quality content, obviously, quality writers are required. In recognition of the fact that quality of a writer is increasingly the only benchmark for producing quality content, a content marketer soon became aware of the fact that content cannot be mass-produced. Guidelines for quality content. The aspects of premium quality content are in-depth analysis of any issue in an article would successfully be able to reach and convince the audience. Length. The length of content would have a much greater possibility of conversion. Articles exceeding 1,000 words would be more than likely to appear in the SERP, which would prompt users to engage with the content. Variety. Content that is varied in the sense that images, infographics, embedded tweets, Facebook posts, and videos are included is considered to be quality content. Readable. Whether the content is reliable, authoritative, and is successful depends on the experience of the user, which is a vital factor. Moreover, if the content is readable on a mobile device and the formatting, style, and layout is appealing or has a positive effect or impact on the reader, then the experience of the reader would obviously be far better. An innovative content strategy is the key. 3. Every strategy or campaign ought to be traced back to 3 essentials beyond simply publishing content. The content ought to be rich in data for fruitful marketing of the content. For the content to really have an effect, there has to be a positive impact on the revenue bottom line. The efforts towards marketing of content ought to enhance sales, save costs, and satisfy customers, thereby retaining them. If it fails to achieve any of these, then the entire strategy should be analyzed, since obviously, the impact of the content is lacking. Point 4. The best brands of the world ought to be imitated. Innovation is the key. In order to be incredibly benefited from innovative content by observing a few of the global brands that are the best and the biggest. These brands have been successful as they do in-depth, thorough, and authoritative analysis of content, publish syndicated content, humorous content, lifestyle marketing methods, infographics, content generated by the user, and socially promoting long pieces of content. The do's for a results-oriented content marketing strategy. 5. Tell a tale. The biggest brands of the world aren't naturally the best brands. The budgets of big brands are often huge, and therefore, there aren't any budget constraints for mass production of content. However, the small brands are far more creative and innovative in terms of implementing optimal strategy for content marketing. Brands have been attempting to innovate and in the process have lost sight of the very purpose of innovation. At the time of occurrence of a major event, marketing is often crass with a motive to capitalize on the event. Innovation without any purpose isn't commendable. Customers' voice ought to be heard so as to understand what their requirements are and accordingly cater to their requirements. The focus, in other words, ought to be to render value, to get value. Point 6. To do the best should be the focus. Publishing quality content where the response is the best should be the objective. Other content publishing platforms, and there are thousands of them, could be ignored even though it may be possible. With adequate resources, it may be possible managing as many social accounts as possible, publish blogs, comment on forums, and manage profiles. However, if there is mismanagement of the social accounts, blogs, forums, profiles, and so on, then it would be prudent to cease. Perhaps, by concentrating on 1 or 2 platforms where there is optimal engagement with the content are the target platforms for publishing content. Point 7. Overdoing content marketing does not yield desired results. The typical objective and strategy could be sales growth, increased revenue, an increase in the number of new users signing up, more likes on Facebook, obtain more email addresses, an increase in the number of trial users, an increase in newsletter subscriptions. A list, however, is of no use as the items on the list aren't in any order of priority in terms of a single goal of content marketing. Once the goal is identified, it ought to be achievable, measurable, simple, inexpensive, and without having to spend a lot of time. Repetition isn't necessarily effective. Rather, a strategic thought process that has an impact is far more effective.